Good morning. Hello, everyone. This is Coach Ricardo Miller. I'm super excited about this morning's conversation. We are live once again here to provide you with content that challenges you to pursue that position where you're wanting to get better in every area of your life. Yep. This platform, Effective Living, is centered around the concept of understanding that you don't have to settle. You can grow and you can glow. You got to learn how to discover the principles necessary for winning, incorporate those principles, and watch the rest of your life ends up being the best of your life. This morning, I'm joined with a great friend of mine, Shanita Brown. What's going on, lady?
Hey, how you doing, Coach Ricardo? Hey, everything is good. How are you, sir?
Man, I am doing wonderful. It is a delight to have you on the platform with me today. You're no stranger. You've been here before. But before we dive into our talk, tell our viewing audience a little bit about Shanita Brown.
Oh man, how much time do we have? No, I'm joking.
I know.
Just a little bit about me. I'm of course I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I am a coach. I'm a trainer. I am a love of Christ. I definitely love Christ. I am. I feel like I am a trendsetter, a pioneer. I am. I'm just a good friend overall. Well-rounded person. Just really wanting to do better and to be better, and that's just a little bit about me. Just a little taste.
Just a little taste.
Yeah, just a little taste. Yeah.
Shanita, man, listen, I've been watching you for a while. We've worked together on a number of different projects and events and so forth over the years. You have remained passionate. You have remained consistently involving yourself in whatever you were needing to do to progress forward. Where did your love for accepting the challenge at hand come from? Because you're clearly the person who have shown yourself or shown oneself to, hey, when it's time to step up, I'm going to step up. I'm going to deliver. When and how did you capture that?
That's a great question. I think it stems from my childhood. I'm the oldest of four, and being the oldest, being a leader, always having the responsibility on you. I remember growing up, and my mom during the summertime, she would be at work, and she would tell me, "Make sure this house is clean before I get home from work." And so I had the task. Here I am, 13, 14 years old, having the task of overseeing smaller kids that was stubborn. I'm like, Mama, they barely listen to you. They sure not gonna listen to me. And having to making sure that task before she walked in the door at 4:00, making sure that the task was done. And so I think that's where a lot of it stemmed from, just leadership at home. And then my background working in the church. I've been in leadership since I was 15 years old in ministry. And so I think the challenge is, you just have to get it done. A lot of the responsibility in my household fell on my shoulders. And then being 15 years old, assisting the youth pastor at that time, and just being in ministry over the years, it's really been one of those things that's really shaped me to become the leader that I am today. It has to be done. And oftentimes people looked to me to do it. I remember growing up, and my siblings, they would follow me everywhere I go. They would do everything that I did. I'm just like, whoa, y'all, like, I used to always get upset with that. I used to tell my mom I didn't like that, but sometimes it just comes with the territory. And so I think the challenge of me stepping up just stemmed from childhood and the responsibilities that I had at a young age.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, I heard you mention the term discipline at home. How important is it in the life of a young person?
Say that one more time, Coach Ricardo. I'm sorry.
Discipline at home. How important is it in the life of a young person?
Very important, because the lessons you learn at home, preferably you're in a good environment, a good home environment, you're going to need those same lessons or principles rather when you become an adult. There's nothing too different outside of, you no longer have the cushion, so to speak, of falling on mama and daddy at home. And when you're in the real world, you do have to apply those principles. If nobody's going to wake you up, if you have to be at work at 8:00 when you when you graduate high school and have to go to college, the responsibility does fall on you. And that takes discipline. That takes self-control. That takes understanding. It takes prioritizing. I think discipline and prioritizing go hand in hand, and so you have to realize what's important to you, because you can't really get too far in life without proper discipline, unless everything is handed to you. But other than that, even athletes work hard. They have to discipline themselves.
Yeah. I totally agree. You mentioned that at 15 years old, you were able to work alongside or work with a youth pastor. How important is apprenticeship? I mean, what was that like at that early age to be able to pick up the responsibility of walking alongside of a leader? How instrumental has that been for you over the years?
Very instrumental. Just when we speak of apprenticeship, that's a good way to put it. I never looked at it as apprenticeship. I mean, you just brought it to my awareness now. I just looked at it again as just picking up the slack and just doing what needed to be done. And so I think it really shaped me and it really formed me. And I learned a lot. I learned, I saw things, what not to do, what to do. I knew I had a calling on my life at a very young age. And so me accepting that role and responsibility was parallel to the calling that God has placed on my life. And so it's been, if I could go back to 15 years old, I wouldn't change it because of what I learned and the lessons that I've learned. And I really have seen it play out in my life up to this point. Just being under leadership, being molded and trained and really, this is important for young people. And I'm still young, waiting my turn. Because sometimes we just want to go to the top, especially as you become more educated. It's like, okay, I have this degree, but you don't really have, come on, somebody that experience. And so I know sometimes we get in the mindset like I should be here when sometimes it's you have to work your way and wait for your time.
You got to work your way and wait for your time.
Yeah.
You do have a time. There's a time and a season.
Yes, sir.
Everything under the sun. Let me ask you this. With you having that early opportunity to work alongside a leader and being involved in an organization that was providing service for young people, you picked up a mic and earned the respect of many because you were skilled with the mic.
Yes.
How was that? Tell us a little bit about that journey to grabbing a hold of the mic and becoming leader B.
Got you. Well, it all started back in the day. Now let me start. It all started. I actually, 15 years old was a very pivotal point for me as it relates to being in leadership. 12 years old, I preached my first sermon or my first message, and that was the first time I ever rapped. And my mom was like frantic. She was like, this girl is rapping. This is something new. Like nobody, people say she going to hell. Like it's just not working. And so just picking up the mic and let my mama tell you, I was a really shy kid growing up. And so I think that's one way I expressed myself was on the microphone, especially I expressed myself through gospel rap. And so just becoming more comfortable with it. And it's funny because when I look back at it now, I look at the importance, not necessarily just it being a microphone, but my voice being heard, because being a woman in ministry, doing gospel rap, I've always been the trendsetter, always doing something different with my hair. I've never been the, 3-piece suit skirt wearing to your knees type chick, and so just really saying, hey, I'm here. And my voice, and I have something to say. I didn't choose this; it chose me. And so, I think for me, just really, just allowing that voice that God has given me to be instrumental in the ministry that He's called me to.
You clearly accepted your difference,
Yeah,
and your gift, your difference, and your gift. When a lot of young people struggle with their difference, a lot of young people never discover their gifts. You pretty much discovered both of them and own both of them. Mm-hmm. How was that in knowing that you were so distinctively different? And what was some of the mindset that you had to hold on to? Because someone's watching us right now, and I've known you for a while. You're confident and you show up and give me the mic. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. That right there is not an automatic thing for a lot of people. And some people say, so she was born with it or he was born with it. For the most part, it's still something you end up discovering that you have and you own it. When did you figured out that you're going to own your difference and you're going to own your gift?
Just growing up, just being a young woman in ministry and still navigating high school is before social media. And, just being talked about a lot at school, like she's the holy girl, she's saved. But the funny thing about it, even though I was different, people still respected me. They respect, and the respect didn't come because I made them respect. The respect came because of meekness and humbleness, because I was still understanding the gift. If we're honest, Coach Ricardo, today I'm still trying to get more clarity on the gift, because you grow. The foundation is there, but you continue to go to different seasons. And so even in that time, just really surrounding myself with, most of my friends are a lot older than I am. I have friends that their kids are my age. Like I should be friends with their kids. And so I've always surrounded myself with older, wiser people, because just because you're older don't mean you are, but also wiser people. And just being in that environment and them telling me that my gift was unique, but I didn't see it. I really, honestly, I knew I had a gift, but I hadn't really just seen that, okay, this is my gift. Really, maybe I knew I had a gift, but just really honing it and accepting it, really, I would say probably like the last 5 years, to be honest with you, because I was looking at like, okay, I went to school, I need to be in corporate America, I need to be doing this and that. And God was like, I gave you a calling and a purpose before you went to go to school to get your education. It enhances your skills, but it's not, what the gift, if so to speak. And so, I had to do that. Yeah.
This is so good, Shanita. You're helping a lot of people, and I'm a strong believer that the Bible says, Jesus said, "Come follow me, and I'll make you." Apostle Paul says, "Follow me as I follow Christ." I believe that we ought to be example setters, and I teach, if someone else can do it, you can do it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God is not a respectful person. So I love hearing people's story, because you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like, what can I learn or glean from her or him to ensure that I can show up too, similar to her or to him, because if he could figure it out, I can figure it out as well.
Yeah.
You figured out or accepted that you had something to say early on as well. And did it get you in trouble because you're confident about expressing yourself, and you talk comfortably about what you feel needs to be said when it needs to be said? How was that growing up and becoming who you are today?
Yeah, we grew up in a household where if you express a little of your feelings, you're talking back. And so
I know about that. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm just telling you my feet hurt. You're talking back. Like, okay. But and so oftentimes my voice I feel like my voice in the household did not get heard as much. And so when I would speak to my peers or go rap, again, like I mentioned, that was my way of allowing my voice to be heard. I didn't see it that way then, but it was an outlet to allow my voice to be heard. And it has been a struggle, especially over time. Woman in ministry, ministry is still a male-dominated field, and being the youngest in the leadership room, sometimes it was a struggle to let people know, hey, I'm here. Not only am I here, I know what I'm talking about. I can help you push this thing forward. I can help you move this thing forward. And so, and realizing in that, learning how to not take it so personal, even though sometimes I did. At the end of the day, it was really, I think it was more for me, for God to say, hey, this is a gift I've given you. I've given you your voice to make a difference. And so don't allow what you feel is rejection to throw you off or to make you feel less than, but allow it to continue to build you and to continue to grow you and to develop you. And because as you know, being in leadership, especially church, it can be rough, And so so I think for me that's what it was, just really just navigating that and just really expressing my feelings in other ways and in other relationships, because I didn't grow up expressing feelings. I mean, it was well into my late 20s before I understood, I can express my feelings to you because of you. It just wasn't, it just wasn't common. And so in my experience, it just wasn't common where I was.
Yeah. The role of education in your ability to express yourself. When did you fall in love with words? When did you fall in love with the idea that education was going to be a critical part of your journey to becoming who you are today?
Honestly, actually going through my PhD program that I'm going through now, I've discovered so much. I mean, it's like a whole world wealth of knowledge. Of course, I really see now that the education that I'm getting now, how it's helping me and how it will continue to help me as I move forward. My bachelor's degree is in broadcast communications. That was chosen from a friend when I graduated high school. My dad was like, you need to do something. You can't be a bomb. And I was like, Dad, I got 1 month before I graduated high school. Like, it's not like it's been 2 years. I've just been chilling at the house. And so I still didn't know what I wanted to do. But a friend of mine, actually the youth pastor that I served under when I was 15, she said to me, how about going into broadcasting, broadcasting, communications? And I was like, I never thought about it, researched it, pursued it, had my radio program, TV show, and all those different things like that. And I'm looking at my skills now over the years, and I'm seeing it's not really until going through this PhD program that I'm like, wow, like I see what my education is doing for me in that aspect.
Yeah, that is so good. Shanita, there are people watching us today from around the world, and our goal is to help them to tap into this. I'm okay going from one degree to the next degree, from one book to the next book, from one certification to the next certification. There is a need to constantly upgrade oneself. The concept of continual education, how important is it in the life of an individual in today's society? There are so many people who think high school diploma was it, when the truth is we're in a society where content is constantly being upgraded in every facet. Continual education, how important is it?
It's extremely important, continuing education. I think for me, going back about 2018, May 2018, I had no idea. If you were to told me a year prior to that, to be honest, if you were to told me 6 months prior to May 2018 that I would be in a PhD program, I wouldn't have believed you. It wasn't a desire. I wasn't planning on going back. What happened was, it goes to continual education. I wanted to continue my education as a leader. I wanted to grow my skills and hone my skills as a leader. So I started to Google leadership certificates or different things like that. I was going to go get a second master's. My sister was like, why are you going to spend all that money on a second master's? When you go get your PhD? And so fast forward, I'm here today. And so continuing education, even as a coach, I'm a certified life coach, and I'm still connected to different programs and networks to continue my education, because as you mentioned, things are constantly changing and we have to be innovative. We have to be relevant. We have to understand what's going on in the world and stand on our toes. Research change, things change, and continual education, whether it's in a traditional sense or you're self-taught. It's a lot of self-taught people that are brilliant minds out there, and they continue to grow because things change. The world changes, and we have to be able to evolve with it and continue to hone our gifts and our skills as the world changes, so we can serve the audience that we're here to serve.
There are people who would say, man, I'm too old to go back to school. How much of an excuse is that?
I think it's a boo-boo excuse. I was probably should say boo-boo, but if God is giving you the strength and the ability, go back to school. I know some older people in my life now that struggle with, I don't know that math, that they're already going in with the intimidated mindset.
The new math.
Exactly. They're already going in with this intimidated mindset. So you're allowing something that you could possibly overcome to already create fear in your life when you hadn't even, because you created the fear in your mind already versus actually just seeing, because you never know what you can do unless it may be a challenge or a struggle, yes, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And so because we're continuously learning. Before Cecily Tyson died, she had an interview, I believe, with Robin Roberts. That was her last interview before she passed. And she said, I'm 97 years old and I'm still learning.
Come on.
And
Wow.
so I was like, Lord, she is like almost in the grave, but she was still learning. And so even if you got a 2-year degree, go back and, and do it for yourself if that's your desire. So go back to school. If the funds are there and all the kids are at the house and you can do it, you and your husband, y'all are good with, go. Yes.
You know, let's talk about the mindset of going back to school, the mindset of having to maybe traditionally had you were programmed to believe that the classroom was the only way, and now there's virtual learning. And a lot of people that will be watching this are of the generation where they would have thought pretty much the in-person class teaching was the way that everybody should learn. And now we know that there are multiple ways. Talk about the mindset to be adaptable in the ways of learning and getting an education.
Yeah, sure. I think the traditional classroom perspective, it really just stems from when we look at it from an African American perspective, just not being able to have access to the education as our other brothers and sisters. And so I think that need of, okay, you have to get educated, you have to know, you have to grow. I think that need of being in the traditional classroom just came to fruition. And so over the years and over time, there are people that have, some people are good with their hands, mechanics, you have plumbers, you have electricians. My dad, he is an electrician. He's HVAC guy. And so he works on heaters and air conditioners and all these different things. And he got his 2-year degree from a junior college to enhance his skill, but he's still constantly going to learn because HVAC, things change, new models come out. And so he's still going to those trainings to learn. And so when you think about a traditional classroom, everybody's not for a traditional classroom. I think you should get your primary education, your foundation education, yes. But I do believe that I think that's why I think it's important to understand your gifts and your callings as early as you can and the best to your knowledge, so you can see what educational road you should take, whether you should self-learn, whether you should go to a college, whether you should do trade, however that may form. I think that I think that's what you should do. You have to do what works best for you. In traditional classroom, it's just, it doesn't work best for everybody. I wasn't planning on it, but it just, God is taking me.
I like what you said there, because you're so right. There are all of these different options. Let's dive into this.
Yeah.
Discovering you. I mean, when you talk to a young person, when you're talking to a coaching client, there are a lot of people who still they've not taken the time to figure out, you know what, I'm better an online person than to be inside of a room with others, or I'm a better in-person person than to be online. I can't learn by myself. Then there are some who say, listen, don't give me the book, give me mentorship or apprenticeship. At the end of the day, I can learn. I just can't learn this particular way.
Correct.
That's not my strength. The discovering self, the journey to figure out who you are. Talk to us about that in relation to the principles you believe is necessary for one to really own whatever way they choose to own.
Correct. I think the discovering self, the journey in discovering self, that's a lifelong journey. I believe that you're going to continually be discovering new things about yourself. And my role leading up to this point, it comes with perseverance. It comes with discipline. It comes with having an understanding. It comes with understanding something that's greater than yourself. Because all the time, because if a lot of things to make it to this point of my life, if I would have depended solely on myself and my own understanding, I wouldn't be this far. Wow. And so really just connecting to, you have some listeners that believe in different things, but really just connecting for me is God, Jesus, God. And so connecting to to my creator and aligning my spiritual man with my soul and telling my soul, girl, get it together. Your spirit knows where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do. And right now you're in your feelings, you're hurt, all these things like that. Get through what you have to get through and just align yourself. But it takes perseverance. If I'm honest with you, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It takes sacrifices. It takes losses. I've lost so much on this journey, but I've gained so much, if that makes sense. It takes understand having a vision. I tell young people, have a vision, create goals. It takes all of that to accomplish, work to accomplish self, because sometimes you do get out of alignment. But if you have those visions and those goals, you can say, oh, I need to get back in alignment. And that helps you stay on the pathway of discovering self.
Yeah. I heard you use the term, and I think it's worth paying some attention to, because there are people who struggle with that, and that is getting in their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, really, every decision we make affects us positively or negatively. So with that said, if I'm always in my feelings, it has the potential to blind my view of the possibilities that are in front of me. Talk to a person who struggles with getting in their feelings for everything. The receptionist triggers something inside of them. The person, in traffic, someone triggers something, and they're not realizing that their feelings have overtaken their reasoning, and their reasoning is no longer sound. So they're losing in life because they're all in their feelings. Mm-hmm. You have gotten to the point where you have to realize, I'm in my feelings, and if I continue to be in my feelings, this will hurt me. Talk to us about that process to not allow your feelings to hurt you, and challenge those that are watching us to get a level of mastery over one's feelings to ensure that we don't self-sabotage ourselves.
That's good. That's good stuff. And the words of prophetess Jasmine Sullivan. She said, "Pick up your feelings." I mean, that ain't what the message is about. But anyhow,
right.
It's that's very crucial in being successful. And in my term, I like to say getting yourself together, because from a neuroscience perspective, our emotional response happens quicker than our reasoning response. And so that's why you have people that react before they think. And so you have to understand, okay, or be aware of, I'm feeling something that I feel very strongly to respond to, but then how will it, you kind of have to think about what you're feeling, if that makes sense. Like, as you're feeling these emotions, begin to think, why am I feeling this? Where is this coming from? What is this telling me about myself? Because one thing about emotions are always tied to experiences. And so whatever you may have experienced in the past, it may not be the same situation, but it may be something familiar with that emotion. And so you're going to immediately respond. And so then you have to really just dig deep within yourself and say, okay, what am I feeling? How can I overcome this? Or what is this? And I believe it's important to explore those feelings. And it may not be right then and there, but because feelings are fickle, they will come and they will go. And that's why you really just have to understand it and have that anchor. And again, I go back to the vision and have goals. We're going to feel in this life. We're going to be heartbroken. We're going to be disappointed. That's just a human experience. We are, at the end of the day, we have to understand, okay, if I keep feeling this way about different situations, what in my life what in my past is affecting me from being effective and living effectively in my future? And so it really takes sitting in your stuff. And sometimes you just have to sit in your stuff so you won't continue to self-sabotage where you're going, whether it's in a career, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in wherever. You can't continue to self-sabotage yourself. And you have to really because our emotions tell us something. I was reading this article real quickly, and it says our emotions are our gauge, not our God. God. And I was like, that is so powerful. So your emotions always tell you something, whether we want to what you call it, whether we want to reference it or feel it or
or suppress it.
acknowledge it or not. Yeah, it's they're always there. Some people mask it more than others, but they always tell us something. So what are you trying to tell me? And let this be a gauge and not my God. Let this not be the thing that overtakes me and overpower me.
I've told my clients on numerous occasions, you have to get to the point where you master your life based on your vision.
Yes.
It has discipline aligned to it more than your feelings aligned to it. So don't be governed by your feelings, be governed by your vision.
Yes. So true.
Yeah. Your vision determines the TV program. Vision determines what time you get up out of bed. Your vision determines who will be your friend. Your vision determines how you spend your money. Your vision determines, everything. But if you're in your feelings, you end up now dictating. I want to watch TV, so I'm a binge watch TV. I just want to eat, so I'm just going to eat. Oh, you know what? I don't want to talk to her no more. But your vision says you need to talk to her because you talk to her. You gonna stay stuck.
Yes, that is so true. Our feelings are they're just everywhere, and I think what people have to realize is they're going to be there, but like you said, you have to learn to master those feelings and not allow it to dictate where you should go, because we all go through stuff. That's life. But you can't let that keep you down.
That is so good. Shanita, when it comes to mentorship and coaching and oversight, let's talk more about mentorship and coaching, which you're a mentor and you're a coach. Your understanding of the need for that in a person's life as they evolve and become and accept the fact that, you know what, I want to do something in life. There are mentors and there are coaches. How critical is that in our journey to continual education or becoming our best self?
Very critical. I try my very best as I coach clients. I also have a coach. I also have mentors. I'm definitely on a new road of transitioning and transformation, and so everything in my life is new. I don't have time to go into all of it, but everything is just new. I'm learning to navigate. I had death of loved ones last year, so I'm learning to navigate life without that. A new career change. It's just a lot of things I'm learning to. I'm having to navigate, and so really just connecting to a mentor. Let's speak about mentorship right now. Connecting to a mentor that's anchored, that can see me. Because mentorship, you want a mentor that's where you're wanting to go. You don't want a mentor that's below you or on your same level, because they go be like, girl, look, eat that popcorn, or girl, be in your, you need somebody that can acknowledge, okay, I understand how you feel, but I see where you should go, and help you to draw out that warrior, so to speak, in you. Coaches just create awareness. You need that person to ask those right questions, to listen attentively, to ask those questions, to create awareness. You be like, oh, this is something I need to work in, or this is something I need to work on, because coaches help you to align with your goal. They help you to find those gaps or those spaces those obstacles that's keeping you from going where you need to go. And so when you think about mentorship is pretty much just, hey, look, I know where you're going. I want to just speak into your life. I want to help you. Coaching is pretty much just helping you create your own answers and finding your own answers. And so it is critical. I continuously surround myself with mentors, and I do have a personal coach, because we need people. We're built for relationship, and we need those relationships.
Excellent. We thrive in community.
Yes, we do.
Certainly thrive in community. Last question, Shanita. Before we go to the last question, you made a commitment to go get your PhD. How has that journey been? I mean, you're right now at a critical junction in that journey. Help us to understand that before I give you that last question.
Woo! It has been a lot of late nights. It has been a lot of tears. It has been a lot of feeling like I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And feeling like just sometimes in some senses inadequate. I have really felt inadequate in some circumstances during this journey. But the rewarding part has been my perseverance. The rewarding part is who I am becoming in this process. And I'm trying my very best to trust the process. I am in my dissertation phase right now. And that's a little different from the coursework phase. And just reminding myself, Shanita, this is worth it. Shanita, you got this. I say my affirmations every morning. Even when I'm feeling good, I say them. Even when I'm feeling like crap, I say them. Because this is not for the faint at heart. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of reading that goes into it. And it's actually a Christian university, Regent University in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And one thing one of our professors told us at residency, he said, this is a crucible. And I didn't understand it then. I was like, what? I understand it more. And what he meant by that was this is soul work. This is pretty much cutting off the fat and refining you. It's like you're on a potter's wheel. But what I've learned, it's been a difficult journey. I'm not gonna lie about it, especially last year with the pandemic. It was difficult. But the reward, the wealth of knowledge, the understanding, I would go through it again to be where I am now. And I know I'm going to continue to grow even after I graduate. Yeah. But it's been very rewarding. Discipline, knowing where I'm going, and it has really helped shape where my next journey and my next career transition is headed.
Love it. I love it. My mentor said this to me a few years ago, do it for what it will make of you.
Yes, correct.
And so I'm hearing that all through what you just mentioned, that you're becoming something so much more because of the process. And I like another word you used that was the process, trusting the process.
Yes.
So many people, they want the reward, but they don't want the process to get the reward. And so,
yes.
So huge. Shanita, what does effective living looks like to you?
Effective living to me looks like pretty much just living the best version of yourself. If you're not living the best version of yourself in whatever situation, then I feel like you're not effectively living, because if you're not your best, how can you affect somebody else? Oh, you can, but you want to affect somebody in a good way, because you can only give what you have. And so effective, because you a parent. I'm not a parent yet, but just because you parent don't mean you were effective at it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so,
exactly.
That's the truth. Yeah, so it's just like, okay, what version of yourself were you bringing in your relationships or bringing to your job or whatever? So I feel like effectiveness or effective living comes from you taking care of yourself, taking care of your soul, and also it comes from you being the best version of yourself. I mean, we all been there. I've had teachers and friends and leaders that were crappy, and I'm like, how you expect me to be effective in this environment, like, I'm just not. And so I think, because you're not even living effectively, but that's a whole other thing. But I think living effectively stems from being your best self.
Come on, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined with Shanita Brown this morning, just talking about continual education, the understanding of loving and owning oneself, the journey along her way to becoming who she is. I like the fact that you talked about trusting the process, and there is a reward at the end of trusting the process. And so for those of you that are watching, she also highlight that there's this critical need for you to discover yourself to the degree that you figure out what form of continual education you need to embrace, so that you don't find yourself being outdated and left behind. Yeah. Discover the fact that someone is assigned to help you. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's not always in a in-person classroom.
Correct.
But it's a classroom.
Yeah.
And so embrace learning, embrace growing. And if you're going to grow, you're going to have to learn. If you're going to have to learn, then you might as well commit to changing. And all of it goes hand in hand. Shanita, any closing thought? In addition, can you tell our viewing audience how they can follow you and stay in touch with some of the incredible stuff that you got going on?
Cool, sure. I just want to leave with this. I read TD Jakes had posted something a while back on his social media, and he said that your effectiveness to, he said, when you stop becoming a student, your effectiveness to lead, you will no longer be effective in leading. And so I believe that always, we're talking about continual education, always be the student, so you can continue to be effective in your leadership. And so one thing, you guys can follow me. My website is Shanita Brown Empowers, and Instagram is I am Shanita B1. Facebook is Shanita Brown Empowers. Twitter is I am Shanita B1. And you can also find it, my Instagram, Shanita Brown Empowers. I have an Instagram for my business. I'm pursuing my doctoral degree in strategic leadership with a concentration in leadership development, which relates to coaching and training and teaching. And so I'm all about helping emerging leaders. And emerging leaders is no grade or no age. It's pretty much those people that are stepping into a new level of leadership, because each level we get to, we have to develop a new part of ourselves so we can be effective to those that are around us. And so that's me. Shanita Brown Empowers is the website. I am Shanita B for Twitter and Instagram, and also Shanita Brown Empowers for Instagram and Facebook. And my LinkedIn is Shanita Nita B Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's on all of these social media sites. Come on, you didn't talk about Snapchat, or you did not. Are you on TikTok and are you on Snapchat? Just kidding.
Yeah, I created a TikTok a while back, and I just don't get on it. My sister, she likes to chronicle when she goes out of town and stuff. She's like to put it all on Snapchat, and she's like, "Well, you don't know what I'm doing because you're not on Snapchat." I'm like, "Well, you're my sister. Like, I just pick up the phone."
Yeah. I go old school. Are you?
Yes. Just pick up the phone.
Shanita, once again, thank you. I know this was going to be a great conversation. I appreciate you giving us some of your time this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Shanita Brown, please go ahead and follow her. We wish you all the best as you're continuing to embrace this journey on your doctoral degree. Listen, man, I'm so proud, so happy, and so honored to call you friend. Have a great day, lady.
You too. Thank you so much, Coach Ricardo.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.